Welcome once again to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we're looking at this time is the Kohetsu Aogami Super Wa, or Japanese handled Bunka 175mm knife. So this line of knives has a core steel of Aogami, or what's known as Blue Paper Super reactive high carbon steel from Hitachi. The heat treat's about 63 to 64 Rockwell, and Mark has had this line tested quite a bit, and it's tested at very high quality on the heat treat, so they really do a nice job on the heat treat on this. So you've got a pretty high hardness on that core Aogami Super Steel, which means it's going to have really nice performance and really nice edge retention. So the construction is 3 layers, and on either side of that core steel you've got a softer stainless steel cladding, and it does cover the spine. So the only reactive steel to worry about is that at the edge where the core steel is showing through behind the cladding. And there's a cladding line there. It's a little bit hard to see, but we'll show it to you on a close-up. The weight on this knife is about 118 grams or 4.2 ounces, so it's nice and light and flickable. The edge length is right about 180 on this one. These could vary just slightly from knife to knife. This one's about 181 or about 7 inches on the edge, and then the overall length about 12.5 inches. The spine thickness is just kind of a medium thickness for the style blades, about 2.3 millimeters coming out of the handle above the back of the blade. And then it pretty much just holds that. It thins up maybe a touch, or pretty much just holds that. Then when you hit this turn, this corner on that reverse sword tip on this style of knife, it starts to thin out and gets pretty doggone thin right at the very tip with that grind kicking in. The blade height is about 47.25 millimeters at the back of the blade, so you've got lots of clearance for your fingers. So the handle on these is just a basic octagonal ambidextrous hoe wood with a buffalo horn ferrule, and you do have a little bit of a step between the wood and the ferrule, but it's pretty minor, but nicely crafted handle. The handle installs tight. The circumference of this handle is about 75 millimeters right here where the ferrule and the wood meet, and it's pretty standard size. You've got plenty of clearance here with that blade height, and here is your balance point with that handle. It's about just behind that first kanji there. Let's take a close-up look at this knife. So it's a machine finish knife, and you can see they've got hand chiseled, I shouldn't say hand chiseled, you've got embossed kanji on it, and the embossing on this one's pretty deeply stamped in there, so it's pretty cool looking. So you got some embossed kanji on the right side of the blade. Trying to get a good view of it here. There we go. And on the left side of the blade is plain. They do have a thinning area where they polish it up and thin it down towards the edge on the right side of the blade, and then a little bit on the left side of the blade too. And then on top of that, they actually have the actual edge bevel. So that's pretty standard on these Kohetsu knives, where they'll have a polished thinned area towards the edge. This particular one is thinned almost to a zero grind. There's a very tiny bevel, or a micro bevel on the end of that, but it's really thinned out almost to a zero grind. So you could easily put your own edge, micro bevel edge on this and clean it up a little bit. The out of the box edge itself, it was pretty doggone sharp. I'd say 6, maybe 7 out of 10. So quite sharp. I have used this knife in the HAP 40 version, and it's a really good performer. So this is ground almost identically, so I have no reason to suspect this wouldn't do any different. They're ground very thin, right at the edge, and they are terrific performing knives. The cladding is pretty soft and tends to scratch easy, as well as it can also get a little staining on it. It's not like a super duper stainless type of cladding like some knives. So this will get some kind of use and wear marks on it as you go forward with it, but this is a great professional tool. And if you're looking for something like super artisan and that kind of stuff, this is a little bit more of a tool, and boy does it just works and works and works. Though it's a great tool. So let's take a look at the edge profile. Fit and finish is really nice on the spine and the choil, and like I said, it's sharp out of the box. So this is just a super value line of knives. Here's the profile. This one is fairly aggressive on the belly towards the tip, so I can rock that baby pretty high, and then I don't really have much of a flat spot, so it'll You got a little bit of a more gentle curve towards the middle back third of the blade, back half of the blade. But it's definitely not a chopper, but that's just the style of this particular profile. So definitely more aggressive towards the tip as far as the belly goes. But just a super nice line of knives, great performers, great coarse steel. Again, a lot of professionals really like these, but they're great in a home environment as well. And it's just an excellent tool. So there you have the Kohetsu Aogami Super Wa or Japanese handled Bunka 175mm knife.